Okay, so in this project, we're going to create crazy bubbles, and we're going to use a lot of different things to create them. We're going to use arrays, for loops, and variables. The preload function will create elements and an image and a slider and headers, input fields, and we're going to also use string concatenation. So it should be a lot of fun. Okay, so here I'm in the P5 editor, and I'm um, I'm creating two areas. So they're called functions, these two areas, and the first one is called setup, and the second one is called draw. And so here's the difference between the two areas. The setup function happens once from top to bottom, and the draw function happens over and over again. Okay, so here we see that in the setup function, I'm um, I'm typing in some code. So the first command in P5 is the create canvas command. And so this creates the canvas on the screen. And then in the draw function, we're going to put in the background command. And so this command actually allows us to see the color of the canvas. So I save, and then I refresh the page, and we can see that there's a canvas now. And so I'm changing the parameters. So I'm changing the width to 800 pixels and the height to, well, the height stays at 500 pixels. And now I'm going to make a basic shape. So I'm going to make an ellipse using the ellipse command. Actually, I'm going to make a circle using the ellipse command. I'm just changing the dimensions of the canvas, so that is 700 by 400. Commands and functions are the same thing, so I use the terms interchangeably. And we can see the code in the setup function. And so here we see the how to write the create canvas command. So we write it exactly like this because JavaScript is case sensitive. And here we put in, there's two parameters, and the first one is 700 and the second one is 400. So the first one is the width, and the second one is the height of the canvas. And so here I'm creating a variable, and I'm calling it x. And I'm using the variable in the ellipse command. So here the ellipse command takes four parameters, and I'm using the value of x for the first parameter. And here I'm giving the variable x the value of 0. I'm saving and refreshing, and we can see an ellipse on the screen. And if I give x the value of 100 and then save, I'm also going to change the y position to 200 to move it up on the canvas. We save, and we can see that the circle has moved. So here we have the actual code. First, we have the background function, which takes one parameter for now, and it is 200. And then we have the ellipse command, which draws an ellipse or a circle to the screen. And so what's happening is that because the draw function loops over and over, the ellipse command is drawing the same circle over and over 60 times a second. If we want to look at how P5, so if we want to see how P5 draws an ellipse to the screen or circle, what it's doing is it's drawing the center of the circle according to the X and Y position. So we gave the ellipse command the x position of 100 and a y position of 200. So that's basically where the center of the circle is. Okay, so now we're going to add some more code. So we're going to say x is equal to x plus 5. And we save, and this should get the ball rolling, actually. We refresh, and now we can see that the circle is moving. And now I'm creating an if statement. So I'm saying if the x position of the circle, of the ellipse, is greater than the width of the screen, so greater than 700, or, so 2 bars mean or if the x position of the circle is less than 0, we want something to happen. And so what we want to happen is we want to take a variable called speed x. We could call it whatever we want, but I'm just calling it speed x because that makes a lot of sense. And we multiply it by a -1. So here I'm declaring the variable called speed x, and I'm giving it a value of 5. And so now where it updates the value of x, instead of typing in 5, I'm putting in speed x. And now we see that when the ball gets to the end of the screens, it bounces. So declaring variables is basically the way that variables say, hey, I exist. So we use the let keyword. We could use another keyword too, the var keyword, but the let keyword lets us declare these variables. And so it always goes the same way. So we use the let keyword, then we use the variable name, and if we want to put a value into it, we can do that too. Okay, so what's happening too is that it's going from right to left. So 100 is being put into x and 5 is being put into speed x. If we look at variables as if they were like boxes, like containers, they would be like boxes that have a label on them. So one has the label of x and it holds the value of 100, and one has the label of speed x and it holds the value of 5. Okay, and now we see the ball bouncing over and over again. Okay, so now I'm commenting out the code. So what commenting out code does is it makes it inactive. Okay. So now we're going to look at the draw function and the if statement. So here's the rest of the code that we have before I commented out the speed. So anyway, so what's happening is that we start the if statement with the keyword if. And so the condition is what we're looking at. This is what we're testing. If the value of x is greater than the width, which is 700, or, so the two lines mean or, the value of the x variable is less than 0, then we want to execute the code that's inside the if statement. So with the or sort of operator, what happens is that if one of the conditions is true, then the whole condition is true, and then we can execute the code inside the curly braces. If both conditions are false, then the whole thing is false, and then we won't execute the code and we'll just skip it completely. So here I'm creating another function, and it's called preload. So it's to help us load images for our crazy bubbles. And we'll do that in the next video. And so here I'm making another comment. I'm just saying that the preload function is made to load it's made to load things like images before the setup function. Comments are useful because they help the programmer with helpful statements that won't be executed by the computer. And that's it for now.